Edit.
So as we start moving into assigning pitches onto melodies beyond just figuring out the rhythms, a very important thing is considering the scale degrees. So we're not just trying to think about notes in isolation of each other, or this is an A, that's an F sharp, that's a D, that's an E. I want us to start thinking about all of this in relationship to a key. So let's go ahead and listen to a melody on a particular pitch. Where does this fall in relationship to certain scale degrees? And scale degrees are going to be using solfege syllables. So if we were doing something in the key of G, this right here is going to be where do is. We just go up the scale. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. And back down. Do, ti, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. And it's very important that as we go forward, we're always getting very adept at the solfege syllables. I don't want us to go many weeks and have these issues with, I'm just not good at solfege. Now's the time to get good at solfege. So what we're going to do in this excerpt is to hear an entire scale from do to do, and then a leap. So we'll go stepwise up the scale, and then a leap down to some as of yet not identified syllable. And we'll try and figure out how do we tell the distance between the top of the scale and the new pitch that's heard in isolation. And I'll walk us through some of the techniques that I would use to do so. So first of all, let's go ahead and try transcribing this bad boy. All right, so first of all, we're notating this. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. And then we hear something around here. We're not quite sure what it is. Who is this? So what are the techniques we're going to use? One, we're going to start to get familiar at isolating where we feel that last note is in pitch land. So if we're hearing this around, here's where we ended up, let's try and see if we can remember where that last pitch at the top of the scale was. Dum, bum, 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 bum. This is where G is the top of the scale. So we can go ahead and decide. We can go down the scale stepwise to where we ended up. Dun, 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 dum. And then we can start to do that again, but with solfege syllables this time. Do, ti, la, sol, fa. Let's go ahead and notate where that is. This is where do, ti, la, sol, fa. We could say that this is the note that we just ended up on. And fa is, we can count upwards, do, re, mi, fa. It is scale degree 4. So whenever you hear a leap, we've got a couple options. We can try and figure out, all right, so where was the top of our scale? And what was that distance? We're kind of isolating the distance between these outer pitches. Do up here and fa down here, bum, bum, bum. And you have a hard time with descending syllables. The nice job about isolating two of these is that you can kind of flip it on its head and go backwards. And here to here, here to here. Is this something that reminds you of a tune? In which case you could say, twinkle, twinkle, little star. And that melody is going to be always starting with the perfect fifth. So we could say this is going down to scale degree fa, and the distance between do and fa happens to be a perfect fifth. And we can start to get in the habit of isolating some of these intervals that we don't need to do the whole scale backwards situation as we're trying to tell what it is. But for now, if it's something that you're not able to identify an interval just out of the blue, it's good to use these scale degrees to tell the distance between. You just fill them in and then go and isolate those outer melody syllables from the leap.